Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Six Pack Sports. Episode 17 for us already. You know, we're getting up there. Rich, break it down. What are you drinking tonight?
You inspired me with your high noon, so I went and grabbed a Lover Boy. I don't know if you've heard of that. We watch a lot of trash reality TV. There's a show called Summer House where they all buy a share house in New York, and they started a seltzer company, and they're delicious. So right now, a little pick-me-up, I'm drinking the Espresso Martini Lover Boy.
Perfect. In celebration of a winning record and beating the Packers, which we'll dive into, I'm drinking one of the final Bud Light Lions cans that I have. We don't even need to rate it. It's a 5. Done. Let's get
Victory
right in.
beers are always a 5.
Victory beers with the logo on it. It's the best. It's the best. I'm surprised I still had some in the back of my fridge, but that's for another day. Let's dive right into this. Lions 20, Packers 16. Break it down.
Dude, what a fun game. Again, we've been saying that a lot recently, and it's not a normal concept for a Lions fan. The end of this season has been incredible. To start out 1-6 and then go 8-2 for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm not even that mad we missed the playoffs. Of course, I would have loved to make the playoffs. Would have sucked going to San Francisco.
Would have been terrible.
I don't think we were getting out of there. But my God, incredibly building for this team. And to end it the way they did in Lambeau in January, where we historically have not done well, and to, as I was hoping, pretty much end Aaron Rodgers' career, I'm really excited about this team. I really am. I'm very happy with the season. A winning record, Drew, at the beginning of the year, I've got text to prove it. I called 4 wins for this team. So sitting at 9-8, looking with multiple first-round draft picks, a plethora of picks over the next few years, and a GM that seems to know what the heck he's doing, a coach that's got guys overperforming. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sold on Dan Campbell halfway through this year. I thought we had missed. I'm eating crow. I am on the Dan Campbell bandwagon. I'm biting kneecaps. That's my dude.
So entering the game, by the way, when you were not excited being 1-6, imagine having a very substantial bet being 1-6. That was scary times. And then we started the podcast and we turned it around. So it's obviously us. But entering the game, last game of the year, Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field. In the past 10 years, like you
said,
what
a scene.
We're not
playoffs on the line for Green Bay as well.
We're not excited about this game in the last 10 years at all. Lions are 3-27 in their last 30 games at Lambeau. Let that sink in a little bit. 3-27. So that's one card deck knocked against us.
Jeez.
Aaron Rodgers, before this game, 19-1 in the regular season in December and January under Matt LaFleur.
Incredible.
Okay.
That's wild.
Rodgers saying a couple weeks ago, the remaining games are basically all wins, so we're happy to, kind of sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, you remember early in the season, he said, can't lose to this team or to that team, referring to Detroit. Well, homie, you got swept by that team.
Yeah, that team. We're that team.
Right now, we are that team.
And lastly, ESPN flexing the game to Sunday Night Football for the pure reason of wanting that Rodgers making the playoff storyline. They didn't care about the Detroit Lions upset.
I think they wanted the game on the line. I think they wanted to be whoever won gets in.
I would agree.
Would have been best case for them, and that's why they did that. But yeah, they 100% wanted Green Bay. Mm-hmm. I don't think the refs called a poor game. That's not what I mean by that. But I think the NFL, for story and to build it up like an old Aaron Rodgers with one last push, was their golden ticket to extra ratings.
Right.
Green Bay would get smoked in San Francisco next week too, though.
Sunday Night Football, ESPN, they had, 8 or 9 expert analysts. All of them picked the Packers except our boy Tony Dungy. Bless his heart.
I love Tony Dungy.
that I don't know if you were watching at that point, but they were like Packers.
I
It's
did.
like,
It
are you
went down the
kidding me?
line.
Like we've already
And
beat
as
them.
it
We're the hottest
as it
team in
went
the
down the
NFL.
line, as it went down the line, that's when I knew like, oh, the Lions are going to win. Whenever they're unanimous or almost unanimous, it's almost always an upset.
Unless it's the college national championship.
Yeah. Then it's a 65-point Georgia team showing up. I was very excited. And this is kind of when I was really cemented in this Lions team are no longer the same old Lions. Was they had a Jamal Williams quote. They interviewed him before the game, and the reporter said what he told me was he didn't want to know the score. He didn't want to know what happened in the Rams game. He said one of two things is going to happen tonight. Either we're going to the playoffs or Green Bay is not. And my God, if my jaw didn't drop to the floor at that quote, I was all in on this team. I didn't care that the playoffs were off the table. I was so ready to beat Aaron Rodgers.
By the
It was
way,
incredible.
He's prepared himself to get the bag.
He's a free agent this year, and I really hope Detroit gives him a nice little salary. I looked it up. He's only 26 or 27. So running backs tend to have legs. No, Jamal Williams, not 24.
No, I say let's give him a 4-year contract.
I would give him a 2 or 3 because usually it's like 28 when running backs kind of hit the wall. So I would sign him to. Yeah, I guess you could say a 4-year deal like you're there. I would want to keep him because not only the production you get on field with him, like that's great. The touchdowns he scored this year, what he brings to this locker room, I think he's like the glue guy. Like he's the Glover Quinn from that earlier 2012-13 team that
He's
just
the guy
brought
that's
everybody
keeping it real,
together.
keeping it light, keeping it fun.
He's the locker room guy.
Look at his Sunday Night Football name preview. Like he's
a character.
Even when they broke it down like word by word, I was like, I still don't know what he's trying to say, but that's fine.
He was, I'm not even going to attempt to.
So, reasons we won. What do we got?
You know, as I was watching it, the Lions, they shut them down on defense. Their defense has been the Achilles heel of this team pretty much as long as I've been alive, with the exception of like 2013, 2014. They held the Packers in check, and the Packers have been hot recently. Rodgers and Watson have been near unstoppable these past few weeks, and Detroit was able to shut down that connection for the most part. They were able to slow down their 1-2 punch in the backfield. They've got Aaron Jones, who is dynamic out of the backfield. When that guy gets the ball in space, he is very difficult to stop. And then I'm blanking on their other running back's name, but he's like 245, 250-pound man that runs a 4.5 40. So he's an
extremely well, I need 3 yards guy.
And he's quick too. Like he's like Jerome Bettis was light on his feet. He could make those little jump cuts. He's the same way. He's very quick inside the tackles and gets north and south. They were able to stifle that and hold him to 16 points.
It's a big deal.
You, as a Detroit team, can hold pretty much any of your opponents under 20 points, you are going to have a very good chance at winning that game. Mm-hmm. So to me, that is the main reason they won, is they were able to slow down and effectively stop that Packers offense.
I agree with you with holding their rushing in check. I think they still had 100 rushing yards, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, between two guys and
but they didn't let rushing. They didn't let Carolina all over the place again. Reason number one for me, they didn't let Seattle's win cripple their goal.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed focused. They stayed intense.
That's a great reason. Game. That's a really good reason.
Like they could have said, Seattle beat us. We're mad at Seattle for beating us, so we're going to let our division team make the playoffs and make the NFC North look better. No, they didn't. They didn't lose their focus, and they didn't get off track. They won the turnover battle again. Aaron Rodgers looked bad. I mean,
Kirby Joseph owns Aaron Rodgers.
I love it. He had 2 picks. Well, 1 in the books, 2 overall.
3 on the season against him.
Love it. I love it. And in regards to Aaron Rodgers, we put enough pressure on him not to like completely stop him, but force him to hurry throws.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable back there. He was running around. Hutch got another sack on him there. It was fun to watch them terrorize him a little bit. Very much a different defense than we saw in the beginning of the year. The rookies have come into their own.
Rodgers missed more reads than Deshaun Watson has accusers. I mean, he looked.
I love when he yells at his receivers too, like when he throws a bad ball. He's like, "Go get it, go get it."
That pick was that's all on him.
It was drastically underthrown, and they cut to him. And he's like, "Go get it." I was like, "That's on you, man. That was a bad ball."
Aaron, you had 3 guys rushing you, and you just Brett Favre'd it up in the air. That was a Brett Favre end of your career move.
Just chuck it up.
Pure and simple, just chucking it, hoping that somebody makes a play.
Speaking of chucking it in that interception, I saw a stat that Brian Urlacher has the most interceptions against Aaron Rodgers with 3 over 10 years or 12 years that they played against each other. And Kirby Joseph is tied with him with 3 interceptions as an individual playing against him for 1 season.
2 games. Yeah.
So
Lastly,
no other player has more interceptions than Kirby Joseph and Brian Urlacher against Aaron Rodgers.
Lastly, the main reason, not the main reason, but one of the main reasons is 2 for 2 on 4th downs. And those 4th downs were so important at that point of the game. You miss those 4th downs, we could be flipping the script and talking about how we lost the game. So we got to hand it to the coaching staff on that last play, DJ Chark.
Oh, great call. Your boy,
both
Jared Goff.
Went out, opened up the middle. It was so easy.
And
easy.
I mean, it didn't because it wasn't wide open. And your boy Goff, man, he had a nice pocket.
Excuse me, his name's the Godfather.
He stepped up and drilled it in there. Goff, he put it on him and sealed the game. We are the most aggressive 4th down team in the NFL. I'd be willing to bet.
I'm happy. I'm okay with that.
That's who we are. That's who the Lions are now. What I'm curious about next year is, and if we're in the position where we start winning not only against teams we should beat, but against some of these teams that are better, some of these top tier teams, if they adjust or they keep that mindset. Because last night, the Lions had nothing to lose. They could go for broke. So I'm curious when there is playoffs on the line and when there are division championships on the line, if they maintain that same aggressive mindset with a guy like Dan Campbell. I'm curious because he seems like a guy that's all gas.
I wholeheartedly agree there that could.
I think that can bite us because there's a lot of times through the year I'm like, we just don't need to go for it here.
So one of our next topics definitely should be, let's take a look at the 2023 schedule and put out a map of how we're going to get to the.
They usually release that in the offseason. Like, we'll know we're obviously going to play the NFC North twice, but they won't release our opponents for a couple months. But when they do, we'll definitely break down how that looks.
Moving on. Say some nice things. Say some nice things about the Godfather, please.
So if you want to look to 2023, I will say some nice things. Goff played great this year. He really did. He shined in some moments. Do I think he's the top-tier elite quarterback of the NFL? I don't. But he is a good NFL quarterback. I looked at who's out there for these top quarterbacks. You got Will Levis, you got C.J. Stroud, and you got Bryce Young. Yeah. One of them will probably be there at the 6th pick. I don't want any of them.
Do the Bears take a quarterback?
No, I'd be shocked.
I think they trade down.
I think they trade down with the Colts is the last thing I've seen that makes a lot of sense.
Houston's so dumb.
Houston. Lovie Smith is not a good coach.
I'm not fired for winning the last game.
It's just ridiculous.
Also, what's dumb is Houston firing first-year coaches 2 times in a row.
Houston's not patient.
After tank seasons.
But Lovie Smith isn't a good coach. Like, if you look at his track record, he's not a very good coach.
He's got an awesome beard. 5 out of 5 on beard.
Pretty ratty. Anyway, so your boy Jared Goff.
I'm sorry, his name's the Godfather.
The Godfather. I do think he's the future in Detroit. So if the Lions had won, I think, less than 6 games this year, I would have wanted a new quarterback. They got to 9 wins.
Depending on his stats. Because if his stats were fine, but the defense was still abysmal, I think there's still an argument that the offense is fine. If they're putting up 30, but the defense is putting up 40.
And he did have a good year. He passed for 4,300 yards, couple tuds, like 6 picks. Like, he had a nice season.
Finished the season 29-7. And statistically, the Lions had the 3rd best offense in the NFL this year behind KC and Philly. 2 Super Bowl contenders.
With that, so with your boy, the Godfather, I looked at the only way I would be comfortable with not having Goff be our quarterback next year is if they can get somebody better through trade or free agency, which is Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback that's really available this year. And I think Baltimore is going to pay him. I do, especially if they make any kind of run in the playoffs.
If anything, Baltimore's going to franchise tag him. So that's at least 2023.
Maybe. Yeah. So I just don't. And here's the thing. If you try and go rookie and throw him in there, next season's a wash. The way this team sits right now with a few more pieces on defense, they could win that division because I think Minnesota's a fraud, and I think it's going to show this weekend. I think with Jared Goff, they can win the division next year. And I think with anybody else, they don't even come close to that, with the exception of trading for a top-tier quarterback.
Minnesota still has a lot of weapons that will compete, but I would agree. And let me break it down for you. Jared Goff, the Godfather, is the quarterback for next year.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
It is. It is.
Last thing here on Jared Goff, because we've spent a lifetime amount of discussion on him throughout the podcast. Last thing here, he finished the season with 324 straight passes without an interception.
Love it.
That's the 5th best streak in NFL history.
Really?
5th best streak in NFL history. That's a big deal.
Put him in a good situation. And that's what the Lions and Ben Johnson need to do, is keep putting him in positions where you're not asking him to win the game.
We need to keep Ben Johnson too.
Yeah, so he's interviewing, and so is Aaron Glenn. And in my mind, you can take Aaron Glenn, but don't take Aaron Johnson.
I don't think Aaron Glenn's going anywhere.
I don't think anybody's going to want him, but I think a lot of people are going to want Ben Johnson.
Everybody's going to want Ben Johnson. And I hope
that
Dan Campbell can sit him down and be like, listen, you are young. You have an excellent future as a head coach, but what we have right now makes sense.
I would point at Josh McDaniel and don't be him. Point at Lane Kiffin, don't be him. Point at Cliff Kingsbury, who just got fired, don't be him. Yeah. Make sure you're ready. Exactly. But at the same point,
I hope that's the conversation they have, and I think that makes sense.
It's hard to tell a man not to take a head coaching job.
100%.
But
I get it.
I hope he comes back next year. He was sensational this year. And I think we got a lot to be excited about.
Sure.
A lot to be excited about.
Moving on, Lions season over. Winning record 9-8. Beat the Packers twice. Beat the Bears twice. Should have beat the Vikings twice.
Yeah.
We're the hottest team heading into the playoffs. That's something to hang our hats on.
They're dangerous.
So, some historical notes for this season. Jamal Williams, Lions single season rushing touchdown record of 17.
Hats off. Barry had 16, right?
Barry had 16.
They showed the graphic? Was it a 14-game season?
17.
It was, but still incredible. 17 touch.
So, if you had to guess, how many were in the 1 yard line or less? How many do you think of the 17?
For Jamal?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can think of at least 5. So I'm going to say of his 17, 10 of them were less than 2 yards.
Well played, sir. It was 10.
Was it 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a touchdown vulture. They might as well call him Mike Allstott. But, I think that is a little misleading. He did score a lot of touchdowns, but he runs the ball very well. He had a lot of yards this year, too. He runs between the tackles, makes one cut, gets upfield. Jamal Williams is a good running back.
I agree.
He's a very good running back.
He's no Barry Sanders. He's the GOAT. But
yeah,
you break a Barry Sanders record, you kind of flex on it.
Yeah, he should take that jersey and hang it up in his house. That's a keeper.
He also broke another Barry Sanders record of multi-touchdown games. 6 this year. Barry had 5 in 1991. Again, you break the GOAT's record, you flex. Okay?
Absolutely.
And we're flexing for you.
And, Barry was one of those guys. They did the reverse to him, is he didn't get a lot of red zone touchdowns when they get inside the 5.
He had to earn his keep.
If you look at his touchdowns like inside the 5 versus outside the 5, it's dramatically different. But that's not to take anything away from Jamal Williams. 17 touchdowns is
Barry also
lot.
played in an era of the fullback.
Could you imagine Corey Schlesinger out there hitting 225-pound linebackers instead of 260 back in his day?
Mike Allstott just ripping through lines. No big deal.
Incredible.
Next historical note, our boy Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I think I'm going to get his jersey next year. I think that's my jersey for next year because I don't need to buy a quarterback jersey. Okay.
Smart.
Tied for first in NFL history for most receptions in their first 2 seasons. NFL record. He tied Michael Thomas and Justin Jefferson for 196 receptions in his first 2 years. Again, that's something
so much.
That's something you flex.
And Michael Thomas, his first 2 years in the NFL,
amazing.
Drew Brees, he was, and it wasn't even close. He was the best receiver in football.
In football, yeah, I agree.
In football,
he was all mad.
I would love. Right I hate that he's an Ohio State guy. I would love to see his career. If
I hate that he's hurt because I keep drafting him.
Yeah, if he's not hurt, because even this year he started out hot and then his toe came back again. And the other one, Justin Jefferson, I would say he's arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL this year. He would be my pick for number 1 wide receiver in the NFL this year. Stephon Diggs is close. Oh, no. Jamar Jefferson.
Oh, Justin Jefferson. Yes.
Justin Jefferson.
I would agree.
I'm sorry, in Minnesota. I think he's number 1. I think Stephon Diggs and Jamar Chase are close.
JJ, he kind of folds and hides during big games.
Dude, he had like a crazy, well, I guess that was against the Colts. The biggest comeback of all time. He blew up in the second half. I'd have to pay closer attention. I haven't really watched like a ton of Vikings over and all. I just kind of like if they're on prime time, I'll watch them because usually they play the same time as the Lions.
So
I see highlights.
Amon-Ra has an NFL record.
That's pretty incredible. That's a lot of catches.
Next one.
190 in 2 years.
196.
196.
Yeah. Lions rookies this year. First in sacks. First in tackles for loss. First in fumble recoveries. Tied for first in interceptions. And tied for 4th with forced fumbles.
They're going to try.
Rookie class was awesome.
They're going to try and give Defensive Rookie of the Year to Sauce Gardner, but it really should be Hutch.
It will be. I actually still think it's going to be Hutch. I don't like cheering for the man because he's a Michigan man, but
dude, he's so good though.
He's good. He makes it
again. He started off slow and then he came into his own. He's got 8.5 sacks now. 9.5 sacks.
8.5. Yeah.
8.5 sacks. 3 picks. How many defensive linemen get 3 picks? Got a fumble recovery in there.
I don't think that.
And he has a high motor. Like
I don't think he has 3 picks in the next 3 years.
No, he might not get an interception for the rest of his career. D-line don't get picks.
No,
that's very strange. What I liked most watching him is he reminded me a lot of Chris Long. Just a guy that no matter what was going on, he was in on the tackle.
I like that.
He was always by the ball. Opposite side of the field, other direction. And he was always in on the play.
And again,
and it's guys like that just make a difference.
Rookie.
He's a rookie. And then you look at Houston on the other side, a 6th round pick. Dude's going to be a problem. Malcolm Rodriguez, don't know if this year was, but he played very well. Anzalone, who I thought wasn't very good, came on at the end of this year.
Best hair in the end.
Yeah, Thor, very Thor-esque.
He's a free agent.
McNeil in the middle, Bugs, them big boys, they started clogging some stuff up. I'm excited to see what the defense
Houston,
does.
best 6-rounder ever.
I would love to see a big defensive tackle. I don't think your boy Will Anderson's going to be there at 6 from Georgia. They got him going 2. So I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be shocked if he's there and they can put him with those guys. That would be an incredible pass rush. Very exciting. The fact that the rookies. Oh, Kirby Joseph was the other one. 3 picks, right. 4 picks as a rookie. Like he came on at the end at safety. That's a good young team.
I bet we can say this might have been the best draft class in Lions history.
Yeah, I think we've had some better overall players. Like you've taken Sue, duds. You've taken Calvin Johnson, but if you think back to a lot of other ones,
of all of them.
Yeah, no, you're talking whole class. That's what I mean. Is like we've had some studs where you can pick out like, oh, this guy. Like we've had Hall of Famers, but to have a class top to bottom contribute like this, just what we just named, those were 5 guys on defense that were contributors. Kirby Joseph.
All right, last thing here on the Lions. Lions-Packers history. This is the 3rd series sweep in 6 years. Okay, it's great. But it's also only the 3rd series sweep since 1991. And
do we own the Packers now?
Oh, we own them. Mark our words, and I'm bringing you in on this. We haven't won a decade since the 80s, okay? We're winning the 2020s against the Packers.
I'll co-sign that. Jordan Love is their quarterback of the future. I will co-sign the hell out of that.
Jordan Love's a bust. Moving on. What's next for the Detroit Lions? We're going to explain this in detail in future discussion. We could literally go all day on this. We have the 6th pick, the 18th pick, and we have some free agency things that we need to do. We're going to talk about that in the future. Final sip on the Lions, Richie.
Excitement. Loved the way they finished the season this year. Love ending the season, knocking out the Packers, ending, hopefully, Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay career. We have a ton of draft picks. We have a very young and talented team. We didn't even talk about, I think, possibly the fastest man in the NFL based off what I've seen. Jamison Williams on that flea flicker stumbled and then outran the entire team. I want to see him full-time next year. He's so fast. He looked like Tyreek Hill. I cannot wait to see him become a real part of this offense. Re-sign Chark. Give me a 3 wide receiver look with Jamo, Chark, St. Brown, with either Jamal Williams in the backfield or DeAndre Swift, and let the boys roll. That is going to be tough to stop. Excitement is my final sip on the Detroit Lions. They were the team that can and did, and they made me a very happy fan.
All cheers to that.
Cheers, cheers.
So, moving on to our next segment. Road Dogs.
Road Dogs.
We're into the playoffs now. Okay.
I think we can go Road Dogs again this week. There's enough games that I think we can just pick any one of the road teams.
Okay. I gave you all of the games as an option, not just 4, all of them. Because we're going to lose. We're going to lose a couple as we go into the playoffs.
I think we can do that the next 2 weeks because there's 5 games this week, and then there's 4 games next, and then after that, I think we just pick.
By the way, your boy tied it up this weekend.
Yeah,
I picked Detroit, and you picked Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it was a bad
mistake.
Call. I don't think any of the other 3 won. I think the other 3 were losers.
Again, you got to pick the one gem out of this.
You did.
Anyway, it's tied 2-2 going into the playoffs. Exactly what we need. This week's choices, we're talking playoff football. Okay? I'm giving you all 6 options. All 6 options here. It's tied 2-2. Seattle at San Fran. Chargers at Jacksonville. Miami at Buffalo. New York Football Giants at Minnesota. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Or Dallas at your Tom Brady's.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that jump out right away. Do we know, is Lamar Jackson playing?
As of right now, it has not been said.
Yeah, see, I'm just
I
not
did
sure.
look that up myself.
I was curious about that, and I wasn't able to find that he was. So I feel like you're not obviously trying to check me. There's one that I really want to go with.
Well, I can't
that
trick you anymore.
Myself.
I mean, these are the
I
games
know
we
that's.
get.
I caught myself saying it. They're all the games. I want to go Dallas at Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay is not good. But how can you? You just can't go against Tom in the playoffs.
You can't go against Tom in a wild card game.
I just can't do it. Even though Dallas is a 12-win team and Tampa Bay is an 8 or a 9-win team.
And Dak likes to throw 800 interceptions a game. So.
He loves to throw it to the other team. The one that I'm going to go with, I'm going to stand by what I said earlier. I'm going to go with the New York Football Giants. And I do not like Daniel Jones, but I really don't like Kirk Cousins. I'm going to go with the New York Football Giants to go up to Minnesota and skull all over the place.
Okay. I am very happy that you chose them because I think this is an easy choice of the Chargers beating the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh, see, that was the trap one that it's not. Jacksonville's hot
I understand
right now.
They're playing hot, but the Chargers are just a better team.
They're not. I had Keenan Allen for the last 3 years. They're the team that should be really good, and they just never are.
Well, that's because they had Phillip Rivers, which was just your mediocre.
No, they've been. I'm talking the last 3 years. They've had Herbert for the past few years, and I think he's a good player. But Jacksonville, it's right up the road. I actually might go to that game. It's about an hour. It's about an hour away.
Watch them lose.
It's about an hour away. Saturday night, so I think I might drive up there. My buddy is a big Jags fan down here. I got a nice Jaguar shirt I went to a game. It says "Jagging Off."
That's cool.
I couldn't pass up on it.
I just giggled like a middle school kid.
It's a good one. So anyway, I think I'm going to actually go up to that game. Tickets were only $130, $140.
Playoffs?
That's yeah. I mean upper level, but they got a bar area right above the first level where you can stand on the rail. So I'm sure I'm not the only person to have that idea, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't mind pushing through people.
Listen, I think the Chargers are just better, and in the NFL. During the playoffs, stereotypically, the better team wins.
Yeah. Home field advantage makes a difference, which is obviously why road dogs are so hard. I think Minnesota's been bad this year, and they've gotten lucky in a lot of situations. So I think the Chargers are they're a smart pick, but I'm going with my gut and the Giants.
Minnesota is fraudulent.
They are fraud. They are frauds.
But I think the New York Football Giants are equally fraudulent.
No, I think they're about where they should have been with 9 wins. They're not very good, not very bad, but I think they could pull an upset here against Minnesota.
There's 3 teams on this list that the Lions beat, and that makes me want to.
Yeah, that tie really is a pain in the ass now.
Well,
because if the Giants lose that game, the Lions are in. Yeah, they're 9-7-1.
Garbage.
Yeah, Seattle, don't be stupid and give up 48 to Seattle. Win that game. All Dallas, almost beat. So anyway, we're riding. Good luck to you.
Good luck with that.
Have we talked about stakes for road dogs? What are we playing for? Is this?
I think. I mean, we haven't talked about stakes.
Yeah.
But, I was actually thought you were talking about food. I was like, yeah, I want a steak right now.
There's actual steaks. You have to send the person a steak.
Moving on to our, again, new segment. I'm excited about this because if you're anything like me in college or high school, would you rather? I was just raised on would you rather.
Yeah.
It's the best game ever. And the would you rathers that I played in the past were probably not going to get to repeat. But this is a classic school playground rules here. One or the other. And you got to say why.
Say why. Okay.
And I brainstormed today. I got about 15 of them lined up. So we're going to have this segment as a key point of the podcast moving forward. So today's question, would you rather give up bread or cheese?
Bread or cheese? Are we talking just like loaves of bread, sliced bread,
I'm talking
buns,
bread,
bagels,
or cheese? There's thousands of kinds of breads. There's thousands of kinds of cheese. You got to give up one. And you got to.
Are we counting? Is pasta a bread? Because pasta is a grain. You take flour and water, but you don't bake it.
You're so getting way too technical.
No. This is very important for me as a half Italian man. I need to know.
Well, as a half Italian man, you should know. Let's do a quick Google search here.
It's a carb. I've always known that.
A noodle.
Define bread. It's the definition of bread.
The primary reason is simple misconception.
Bread is a staple food now usually thing throughout history around the world.
Okay. Pasta is made from durum, a wholly different species from bread, wheat, and it contains a third fewer chromosome. So the answer is no.
No? Okay. So that makes it more difficult because if bread had included pasta, then I 100% give up bread. But now I know I get to... Or no, I made it very easy. No, I give up bread now because I still get pasta. I'm sorry. My big brain confused itself there. The fact that I get to get... So now I can still have pasta. I can still get like my fix very easily. The only thing is like you're giving up sandwiches.
You're giving up sandwiches?
I'm giving up pizza.
You're giving up pizza.
I'm giving up all the kind of good stuff I'm giving up bagels. I love bagels. I do. Big bagel guy. You heard it here first.
Listen.
So no, this is an easy one to me. I love cheese. So the only thing that kind of made it there is if you take away if you go carbs or cheese, then it gets a little hairy. But like if I can still have spaghetti, still have pasta, still have mac and cheese, still have all the good things. So I'm good with that. I'm keeping cheese, shipping bread. Would you rather give up? I'm giving up bread.
I'm giving up cheese, and here's why. When Jesus Christ himself was with his 12 apostles, he broke bread.
You need the body of Christ.
What did I say? I don't even know.
No, I'm just saying he broke bread. I'm just saying you got to go to sacrament. You got to get your body of Christ.
Yeah, like it's a staple in life. I'm giving up cheese. It's going to be hard and it's terrible because there's so many great things with cheese, but bread is such a staple in my life. Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Pizza.
No, it's not an easy call. It's tough, but I mean,
bread. There's so much.
No, I can do it though because, like I said, I can still get my carb fix. I can have spaghetti, pizza. I can have.
So you took the substitute
lasagna,
which I kind of feel is cheating, but I respect it.
Well, I just needed to know because, like, if you want to like switch it up and say all carbs, like, do I have to give up carbs or cheese? I think I give up cheese then, because cheese is like it's an accompanying food. You know what I mean?
It's an attachment.
Right. I put it on top of things to make
I'm not opening the fridge and grabbing a chunk
I'm not grabbing
a
block of cheese. I'm not 22 in college anymore grabbing a handful of shredded cheese out of the fridge.
What about string cheese though? I mean, you just rip that open and eat it. Also,
yeah, and we have a lot of string cheese.
Do you open the string cheese and like make a tree out of it, or you just eat it like a pretzel? Like
so I'm kind of in between. I don't take a bite out of it.
You got to
like a stick, like a beef stick, but I can't do the thin. Like it's like 3 strings though. They're like fat stalks.
I rip it out to about 20 different strings.
That's no, I do. It's like 3. I split it like a log, basically.
That's kind of psychopath. Just 3 big.
I don't take a chunk out of it. I don't bite it off the top. No, I think that's for me. If I get pasta, then I'm giving up bread. If I don't get pasta, I'm giving up cheese. Because at least then I can still have like bread dipped in sauce.
Listen, cheese is an attachment. You can live without it. You can't not live with bread.
You 100% can live without bread.
No, can't do it.
It's the Atkins diet. There's a lot of people that do it.
Yeah, and that guy died because of it.
Everybody
died
dies.
From his own diet.
Everybody dies.
You don't die from your own diet. He did.
Did he really?
Yes, look it up.
I gotcha. I'm not on it. Oh, that's funny.
All right, we don't need to rate our beers today because we know that they were awesome. We're going to be back next week, break down the end of season awards for the Lions. I think that'll be a fun episode. We'll pass out some MVP awards. We'll pass out some What Were You Doing awards. We'll pass out some We Need to Get Rid of This Guy award. And we'll go over some draft and free agent needs and expand on our build your own six-pack of thoughts.
Before we do, I want to talk about one more thing that we glossed over. How about that Packers dude, Quay Walker, that shoved the medical staff?
It was an extremely bad timing on messing with medical staff.
What are we doing here? That was
Also,
the craziest thing. Literally, they
best part
save a
was him
dude's life.
In the tunnel, he's crying.
Yeah, he knew he did it. Like he had that realization of when you really mess up. And honestly, I was laughing at him when he did it.
Fourth grade kid that got kicked out of gym class.
Yeah, just a stupid person. I mean, I know exactly what was going through. He's like, "Oh, don't get your hands on me.
Yeah.
This is my space." That is a 5'10", 175-pound athletic trainer. You are sick. It is.
By the way, that
man.
athletic trainer was ready for the heat.
He turned and looked at him. Did you see the big defensive lineman? Nobody's talking about this. The big defensive lineman that bellied him.
I think the NFL will see that on the team.
I hope they do, because if you cannot protect those guys, like that needs to be a line in the sand. That needs to be on par, if not above, how they protect the officials.
Well, even during the broadcast, they were like, before he got kicked out, the rules official came up.
He's like, they need to get rid of that dude.
Well, they didn't say need to. They're like, you'll see in the next 10 seconds, he's going to get kicked out of the game.
Yeah, I heard that. And then, because at first I thought the penalty, because I didn't see the shove in real time, I thought the penalty was for the clothesline to Swift. I was like, yeah, okay, I can see that being an unnecessary roughness. Like, that makes sense. You can't go at the head of a guy like that. They're trying to protect it. My word. When I saw that, I looked at my dad. We were watching the game again. I was like, what an idiot. Like, what are you doing? This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen on a football field. He shoved the trainer. And I still can't get over how they didn't throw a flag on the dude that then belly bumped him to like have his teammates back.
They missed it. The NFL won't.
It was just insane to me. That is the biggest idiot of the year award. I don't care when we do our awards next year. He's getting the biggest idiot of the year.
He should have been one of our beers for Leave in 2022.
What happened this year? But yeah, let's retroactively leave that dude in 2022. He's an honorary. He's the 7th beer.
We had too many.
These beers went down too smooth. I need another beer.
Been there.
All right, that's good. That's all I got for today.
I'm out. See ya.
See ya.